One last little chunk of material to go over here. This is for the No Calculator Quiz Review. These are the questions where you have to solve, okay? And it says simplify your answers into simple fractions. That really just means no decimals. So your answer might be a fraction. They might just be whole numbers, okay? And you really shouldn't have any exponents in your answer, so that using positive exponents doesn't really matter. And I will tell you, just looking ahead at this, there are some of these numbers that I think are too big to be on a no calculator portion. The ones on your quiz are not quite this bad. I'm going to power through it, and I'm going to show you how you could power through it too, all the way up until we get to that last one, okay? That last one I could power through if I really had to, but I don't think it's worth the time. So, looking at number 18, we need to cancel out that power of 2/5. I know I have a lot of people who want to just dive right into like the power of 1/5 and the power of 2. I get that, but we're not actually trying to do this math because there's nothing I can do here. We're trying to undo it, right? So we're going to cancel out that 2/5 with a power of 5/2 so that these two things cancel each other out. But that means I need to do 9 to the power of 5/2. And now this is where I can split up my exponent. I can say 9 to the 1/2 and then to the power of 5. Okay? Well, 9 to the 1/2 is 3, and so now I have 3 to the 5th. 3 to the 5th might be pushing it a little bit, okay? But if you had to, you could write out 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? I'm smart enough to know that this is a 9. I'm smart enough to know that this is a 9. So now I really have 9 times 9, which I know is 81. So that was really 3 to the 4th. But then I still have this times 3 here. Okay, so 81 times 3. Let's think about that the way I did the 64 in a previous video. If I'm doing 81 times 3, I can break up the 81 into an 80 plus a 1. And then I want to multiply each one of those by 3. Okay? So 80 times 3, 3 times 8 is 24, so that'd be 240. Plus 1 times 3 is 3, and so 240 plus 3 is 243. Okay, so that's really my final answer here, 243. Okay, really I guess I should say T equals 243. Not like I'm going to make a huge deal of that, but I just want you to understand, make the connection between what I just did. So that means if I did 243 to the power of 2/5, I should get 9 back out. So don't be scared of stuff like this. You can do it without having to do like 3 times 3 and then times 3 again and then times 3. Try writing it out and grouping it as much as you can and then just doing whatever math problems left at the end. Okay, so for the next one, to cancel out a -2/3, I'm using a -3/2. Make sure you use a negative. -3/2. Okay. Cancels. This gets rewritten as 81 to the 1/2 to the 3rd and then to the power of -1. Okay. So we know that's 9 to the 3rd to the -1. Here's another one, 9 to the 3rd, that might be tough, okay? It's going to work really similar to what we did just a second ago, so let me kind of section this off. 9 to the 3rd is really 9 times 9 times 9. We know that this is 81, so now I need to do 81 times 9. Same as I did a second ago to do 81 times 9. Split this into 80 and 1. Multiply both by 9. Okay? So 80 times 9, 8 times 9 is 270, or 8 times 9 is 72. So final answer there would be 270. Okay? Plus 1 times 9 is 9. And so then that's really equal to 279. And that would be 9 to the 3rd. So now I end up with 279 to the power of negative 1. And then just remember a power of negative 1 is really just going to flip this thing over and make it 1 over 279. Oh, what did I do here? I made a mistake way back here. I thought that number seemed weird. 8 times 9 is not 27, it's 72. Okay, so this should be 729. I thought that number seemed weird. Okay, so this should really be, sorry about that, guys. 729 to the negative 1, and then this would be, let's just do this. 1 over 729. That looks much better. Sorry, it's been a long day. Okay, the last one here is where I am going to give up my shield and my armor. I'm going to not be so brave, and I'm going to have to bust out the calculator here. Not for the first part, but so plus 7 plus 7. I know I need to do that. So 2x to the 4th equals 13,122 is what that would equal. And then, you know, to be honest, I could even talk you through how to divide this by 2 if I really needed to. But then we're going to get a number and have to do a factor tree for that. And, oh, it's just a lot. I think that when we put together this review, we just weren't paying attention to how big that number got. So I'm going to cheat.
Don't cheat.
This comes out to be, when I divide by 2, x to the 4th equals 6561. Okay? So when I divide by 2, that's what I get. I'm going to now raise to the power of 1/4 and raise to the power of 1/4. If this was a smaller, more reasonable number, I would expect you to bust out a factor tree here and break that into 4 pieces. Okay? It's not a very reasonable number. I'm fairly certain the answer is 9, but I'm going to just check. So 6561 to the power of 1/4 is what I'm doing. Correct answer is 9. So I would say x equals 9. Okay, so that's those last 3. The same process we were doing before, okay, with all the splitting and everything. You just have to look out for, you have to start it by raising to the reciprocal of the other side. And once you've done that, then you can bust into, you know, breaking out the exponent and things like that. Okay? Okay, we will do a few more of these as a warm-up tomorrow before we start the quiz. So come in ready to ask questions.